Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to another episode on the beautiful, wonderful, just extraordinary Calmsden Farm by OxygenDavid. Thank you all for tuning back in to another episode. This is episode number 7, and we need to do a few things today. We've got, as you can tell, I'm going to bump our time up just a little bit here. We've got rain coming. Rain is supposed to start around 10 a.m., according to the weather forecasters. And of course, just like in the real world, the weather forecasters aren't always 100% accurate, but they seem to be perhaps a little more accurate in Farm Sim 22 because if it says it's going to start raining around 10 o'clock, by my experiences, anyways, with 22, that's about the time the rain's going to start. So, what we're going to do is in the previous episode, I think it was the previous episode, or maybe it was in episode number 5. We purchased field number 23, which on the map in release 1, in the first release, and I know Calmsden Farm has been the update has been sent to Giants for testing, and I believe it was on the testing. It was on the testing list yesterday. That was Thursday. The what was yesterday? Thursday, the 26th, I think, or maybe the 27th of December. And I did not check the 27th of December, Thursday the 27th. Today is Friday, the 28th of January. And if I just said December just a few minutes ago, my apologies. As you can tell with these HD textures that I have loaded from OxygenDavid, the trees are starting to turn a bit fall as we are in the second phase of September and should just get even more beautiful as time goes by. The update might be available this morning. I did not check simply because I did not want to update just yet. I have heard through the grapevine that the update is not going to require a new game save, and obviously because I have put the UK planting calendar geo into the map, and also because I have put the HD textures in, I wanted to get this episode done, and then I will take a look and see if the update is available. And if it is available, then we'll kind of take a look and see what I need to do as far as getting that update applied, and then coming back in and then redoing the textures and redoing the crop geo, because I just absolutely like the fact that we have the ability to plant based on the UK weather cycles, and I like having the ability, or the knowledge of the ability to be able to do our spring crops like they do in this part of the world, um, in the real world. So we'll check that and see. I've got some time this weekend, so if the update did come out today, then I will get that applied and hopefully have all that done before we produce another video. If not, then it may be another video or two before you would see those updates. If it does require a brand new game save, then I've got to make a decision as to whether or not I want to apply that. Um, I think the update is going to correct a few little minor issues with the map. It's probably going to do a few other things that I may not necessarily be interested in. If they don't necessarily concern me, I'll certainly take a look at the change log. But if they don't necessarily concern me, and if it's going to require a new game save, then I may opt not to apply the update, and we'll just see. We'll just weigh things out and see um, what all the update includes, and whether or not it's going to be something that is going to affect us in our gameplay and how we're progressing along with our map. So Sid was coming down here, and I see that he has arrived over there in the gator. I'm going to just kind of make things a little easier for him and give him a little bit wider headland, and then I will just hire a worker. We'll get Sid putting the rest of this lime down, This is the last field that we need to apply lime to. We've already got fields number fields number 3 and 6, and also field number what's the other field number over there? I forget now. Anyway, all of our fields that we're going to be using for planting, either this winter, the crops that we will put down in the next few videos, and or I'm lost in these trees, and or um, the fields that we will be planting in the spring have all had lime applied to them, and so we can get this lime spreader washed up and emptied and get it into storage. And whether we will use it for solid fertilizer is yet to be determined. I do have a small, just 3-point hitch mount type uh, fertilized spreader that we're going to use today, because we are going to go and spread fertilizer, solid fertilizer, dry fertilizer down on the 2 grass fields that we cut in the previous videos that we got hay and silage off of. We'll go and put solid fertilizer down on that. I think that's a good idea to do, especially considering that we've got rain coming. We'll let Mother Nature put that fertilizer down into the soil, and that will help us out versus coming along and spraying with liquid fertilizer. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day in your neck of the woods. I have obviously been putting out a lot of Calmsden Farm videos, kind of back to back to back. It's been a few days since you've seen anything from Elm Creek. I do have one Elm Creek video that I had created after Calmsden Farm came out, and so that one is in the queue and will probably be something that you will see next week. Still trying to kind of determine on my schedule and my interest. I am just so I'm just having a blast on Calmsden Farm that it's just kind of going to be one of those. It's going to be a discipline thing, I think, on my part to say, Jerry, don't click Calmsden Farm, click Elm Creek and do a video on Elm Creek. But I tell you, I just absolutely love this map, and for all the reasons that I have previously discussed, not going to go back into those things. But there's just no substitute for a very good modded created map like this. There's just no substitute. All right, we're going to hire Sid and let him do his thing here. Hopefully he will do that without getting too tangled up. And yeah, I think he'll do fine. We'll just let him do his thing, and if I need to come back over here and make any corrections, then obviously I can do that. We'll take the John Deere Gator back to the main farm, and we will grab the John Deere, which is what we're going to use to apply solid fertilizer down for our 2 grass fields. Now, speaking of those 2 grass fields, um, all total, we got about 26 bales of hay from from the 2 grass fields that we cut and made hay out of, and we got a total of 53 silage bales out of field number 10, which was quite well. At first I thought that was quite impressive, and then I sort of realized, well, those are much smaller bales. We were making 8 or 9,000 liter, I think it was 9,000 liter straw bales, and I think it was 8,000 liter hay bales that we were making when we were doing our hay. And the silage bales are much smaller. I think they're about half the size of the hay bales. So we'll have to. I'm still looking at what we need to do. I know that I did look up the ratios, the mixture for total mix rations. So I have that kind of understand what I need to do. I just hope that the mixing wagon that we have, based on the size of bells that I created, will essentially allow us to be able to make that make those ratios and everything up. I think it will. We'll just give it a test and see when I get around to having some time to be able to do that. And I need to go in forward gear because I did back this in here, and we'll get that done. Okay, so we're going to head over to the two grass fields, field number 8 and field number 10, and put this dry solid fertilizer down. Again, I kind of think that's the best practice based on how I understand things, and based on what the weather is that we have coming in. Now, in my experiences, and I've talked about this before in previous videos, may have briefly mentioned it during the Calmsden series, but I have just kind of spoke about this in more detail in previous videos, and especially in previous versions of Farming Simulator. I had done a little bit of farming in my younger days, working with my friend that his father owned the dairy there in the part of Texas where I grew up, and did various tasks. Even operated some equipment, drove a tractor, that sort of thing from time to time. Not a whole lot. I did take back when I went to school back in the early to mid '80s. I took uh, agriculture classes. My high school offered. Whoa, this has got a pretty wide spread on it, which is a good thing. So we'll scoot on out here so that we're not wasting. But I did take shop classes, agriculture classes. It was kind of tied into the Future Farmers of America program that's here in the U.S. I don't know if FFA has sort of broadened things and have gone international. I think there are some countries that do a variation of FFA, Future Farmers of America, but I spent 4 years in high school in the FFA program and raised animals and that sort of stuff for the county fair projects and such, and maybe I'll talk about that at another time. But anyway, we did do things like learn how to drive a tractor. We had a really cool tractor course that was created. The older classmates always did this for the younger guys, and I think it was probably my sophomore, my 10th grade year, my second year in ag and FFA that we did the tractor course, and they just set up some posts and some rope, and you had to basically drive a tractor through it, and the shop teacher, the ag teacher, would just time us, and we had to get through it in a certain amount of time without hitting any posts, knocking any of the flags off on the top of the posts, and I had almost a near perfect score. I had one of the fastest times of my class, and really proud of that. But the stuff that I did working on the farm, on my friend's dairy farm and everything, I never did have the opportunity to spread any sort of fertilizer. Obviously, they did. They did their own hay and everything for. Anyway, can't remember if they did silage. It's possible that they did. I just may not remember. But I never did spread dry fertilizer or liquid manure slurry or anything like that. But I kind of know from hearing stories that my dad tells about his time growing up on my granddad's farm. And my grandfather was a farmer. He was kind of a he could do anything and everything. He was a blacksmith. He was a farmer. He was a carpenter. He built his own houses, built his own barn, and everything. I know I've talked about him before in previous videos. Just an incredible man, and he unfortunately he passed away when I was about a year old. I have a picture sitting on my desk of me sitting in his lap, and that's really, I have no memories of him because I was so young when he passed away. But hearing stories of my dad, my grandfather would always spread solid fertilizer right before the rain. So that's just kind of, I guess, why I'm doing it this way. And of course, growing up as a kid, I also helped my dad with our yard, and we had one of the nicest, greenest yards in on the block. And one of the things that he always did was, my friend that had the dairy, my dad would go out there. He and my friend's father grew up together and knew each other since childhood and everything as well. And so my dad would take a flatbed trailer out to the dairy and load it up with manure, and we'd bring it back home and spread that manure in the yard. Other neighbors did the same thing, and our block would smell like a dairy farm for a couple of days. But oh man, we would have the prettiest, greenest grass. But then other times, if we didn't do that, then he would always make sure we went down to the feed store, where we could get feed and fertilizer and things like that. And we'd get fertilizer. And right before we knew that it was going to rain, he and I would get out there with, we had push fertilize distributors that we would push up and down the yard and get it all fertilized right before the rain. So a lot of those memories that I have with my dad, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. And he taught me a lot about life, and thankfully I still have him with me. And as a matter of fact, I speak to him on the phone twice a week, and I'm going to be calling him just in a few minutes as soon as I wrap this video up, and chatting with him. He obviously still lives down in Texas, and is able to live on his own, and able to still do his grocery shopping and stuff like that. And so but he's just got a wealth of memories, and we reflect on his childhood growing up on his farm, under his father, my grandfather. And I try to write down as much as he tells me, because the thing about memories and stories like that is, once the people that remember and live through these experiences, once they're gone, that information is gone as well. And so just trying to capture that, so that well, I don't have any children, so I don't have anyone to necessarily pass it down to, but I do have some cousins whom I talk to on occasion, younger cousins who kind of eat up that information as well, because they like hearing about for them it would be their great grandfather, my grandfather. And so trying to collect that information and save it, so that people are aware and it can be passed down. All right, well, we are going to, let's see, what are we going to do next? We're about 18 minutes into this episode, and I think what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here, and we'll just park our John Deere with the solid fertilizer spreader on the back right here for now. And we need to take some hay down to the sheep, and we also need to give the sheep some water. And I'm not sure if I can connect the water tanker that I have down at the sheep yard. I'm not sure if I can. Let's see, what do we have hooked onto this? Nothing. So I need to get this bell fork here. And our cows are happy, and they're doing the things that they need to do, which is obviously good. And obviously we're doing the things that we need to do for them. I think I told you that we got 53 bells of silage, so I put 2 rows, that bell collector that we're using puts them in rows of 24, so I dropped the 2 24 rolls in there, and then put an additional 5 around back, and we'll use those first around back, and then start on those in the silage pit. So we'll just come in here. The telehandler does pretty good maneuvering in this tight space. I suppose if this barn had any more, if we had a need to have any more hay in this barn, then it might be wise to maybe invest in the skid steer. But we'll just see how that goes over time, and especially as we get more grass work, more hay, and everything going. All right, so we are out of the barn, And that's where the no collision camera would really come in handy if we had that mod. But we'll just have to keep waiting for it. Here's Mr. Thornton's dog. And Mr. Thornton is loving everything that we're doing on the farm, and just really excited. We are watching crop sale prices on the wheat and barley that we have in the silo, and watching for the best price to be able to sell those. And so we'll get that done um, whenever time is right for that. We will sell, as Ernest and Julio Gallo, the commercials back in the 70s and 80s, used to say, "We will sell no wine before it's time." Well, we will sell no wheat or barley before it's time. So we will just go ahead and put our, oops, sorry about that, little sheep. Put our hay in here. Maybe we're full. Okay, well they'll eat on that for a while until that goes down. And like I said, I haven't tested this, so this may not work. And it does not. No worries. No worries at all. We'll come over and bring our tractor over, and we will get them watered. Shut the gate. The sheep are they're well trained to stay inside the fenced area. They don't typically wander outside of the gate. They're certainly better behaved than Mr. Thornton's dog is. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about 23 minutes, 24 minutes into this video, and I will just off camera run the John Deere tractor over there, connect it up to the water tanker, and give the sheep some water so that they will have something to drink. And we'll take a closer look and see what is going on with that hay bale. I don't think I have to bust it down. I think it will take bells at that feed point, but it might be that I guess we could pull the menu up and take a look at that together. Wrong button. And see here, animals and sheep. Yep, they're full. So it took some, and it will go ahead and process the rest of that as the sheep graze and eat more stuff. Speaking of grazing, I really wish that the animals here in Farm Sim would graze, especially this time of year. I think it would be cool if basically, the sheep that are out there grazing were consuming the grass on the field versus what we put in the trough, and then come wintertime when the grass is basically short and almost non-existent, then we could feed them with hay or grass or whatever the case might be. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the short video, but just got a lot of things going on, and hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Not sure where you'll be actually seeing this video, but sometime next week, I'm sure. And take good care of yourself, and also take good care of those around you, and also your furry little friends. And come back and see us here on Calmsden Farm, or maybe over on Elm Creek if I can get the discipline to not fire up Calmsden Farm and play this wonderful map. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.